A little while ago, I put out a poll asking people if they thought aiming in Overwatch was fundamentally different from aiming in other games. While yes won the poll, a lot of you were a little bit confused as to why. Most of you just expressed some frustration for it being noticeably harder to aim in Overwatch compared to other games. Many of you attributed this to the fact that there's a lot of variety and a lot being asked of you. While these points are true, and Overwatch is an extremely mechanically rich game, there's one thing that still separates this game from every other game, and it is the main reason why we have to look at aiming in Overwatch so differently from games like Counter-Strike, Valorant, or Apex Legends. Let's do a demonstration to see what I mean. In Counter-Strike, when I move right and let go of D, my character will still keep drifting a little bit to the right before coming to a full stop. This is why we need to counter-strafe, and press A when we let go of D to quickly become accurate when we peek into an enemy. The same thing is true in Valorant. It is like you are moving on ice. This is the property of acceleration. In Quake Champions, we can use a setting to directly view our movement speed, and as you can see, it is far more noticeable in a game like this. You can see that there is a gradual increase in speed when you begin moving. You do not instantly reach top strafing speed. Similarly, when I let go of the strafe key, it takes a little bit of time to actually come to a full stop. This is also the case in Apex Legends, minus some pretty flashy movement tech that you can do in that game. Let's look at Overwatch gameplay now. When I tap a strafe key in Overwatch, I start moving instantly and at top speed. There is no gradual acceleration in my movement. Similarly, when I let go of that strafe key, I come to a full stop instantly. While there are of course exceptions to this, like Lucio movement or flying character movements, this is a movement style that is very unique to Overwatch as one of the main FPS esports titles. Being so unique, this is why it can feel so frustratingly difficult to aim in Overwatch compared to other games. The movement is far more rigid and honestly unrealistic, but it demands an equally unique aiming style. In this video, we will go over the aiming techniques that are most relevant to Overwatch and show off a comprehensive routine listing scenarios that will be most beneficial in developing this technique. The requirement that underscores all of Overwatch aiming is being able to see and read very fast changes in movement direction. If your aim is particularly snappy, erratic strafing on characters like Tracer or Kiriko can be hard to read and react to smoothly. Aiming at a flying Juno can be especially frustrating.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, this guy's very much involved.
Overwatch players often downplay the value that aim training can provide to their game. But where is that value? Most of the popular tracking scenarios in aim training are designed with gradual acceleration strafing. And while there are some variants that include instant acceleration patterns, they're tucked away in a gauntlet mixed with other patterns. The specific category we're searching for is often not what most Overwatch players see when they first come to aim training. It is called pure reactivity, and it features targets that move very erratically, have very fast movements, and of course, have instant acceleration. Tracking scenarios that feel like this is what this routine will focus on. I've already done a full breakdown of this aim category in episode 2 of my Aim Secrets series linked here, but take this video as an enlightened rehash of those ideas. But I'm not just going to give you a routine and call it a day. It's better if you understand in depth how to play the scenarios so that you will be able to discover and add better scenarios that you might come across when exploring the aim trainer to the routine in the future. The difficulty in all of these scenarios is tied together by how hard it is to actually perceive positional changes that are occurring this quickly. Think about it. The more or faster you move your camera, the more blurry your screen becomes in the middle of all that motion. That's just your motion. Now think about what it looks like if you make all of those adjustments onto a target that is strafing like a madman. What if you are also strafing like a madman? These things compound. Putting this all together in a heated Overwatch match, you are staring at a blurry mess on your screen, where your only real hints for what to shoot at are basically blobs outlined in red enemy colors. The solution to this is pretty obvious, and it's something that Voltaic covered in the past. Practicing calm aim allows us to smoothen our adjustments so this blurriness is kept to a minimum. However, in pure reactivity, it's quite difficult to make use of the usual techniques like edge tracking or isolating our micros to our fingertips to make for seamless recoveries in tracking. Something that would help a lot externally is actually your monitor. The problem that we've described so far in this video should ring a bell to you if you've ever heard about BenQ ZOWIE's DyAc technology on their flagship gaming monitors. This technology is literally designed to reduce the motion blur that we see in fast-paced games like Overwatch, Apex Legends, and Quake. We've seen a lot of reviews on DyAc monitors doing the UFO test and the training range screen reading test in Overwatch, but to my knowledge, we have yet to actually put this technology to the test in aim trainers. That is, until today. ZOWIE sent me their 400Hz monitor, the XL2566K Plus, with DyAc 2, and for the past month, I have been gathering scores on this monitor with the blur reduction technology enabled on some of the fiercest pure reactive scenarios I could find in KovaaK's FPS aim trainer. These are our testing results. The numbers here don't lie. Despite it being slight, the advantage offered by blur reduction with DyAc is definitely noticeable on these fast strafing scenarios. For both of these scenarios, the strafes are so fast and frequent that the challenge is all about deciphering the direction change and the corresponding angle as fast as possible. The blue line, which represents DyAc on, traces consistently above the red line, which represents DyAc off. While other scenarios don't benefit as much from DyAc technology by ZOWIE, it is especially relevant in Overwatch and games with fast-paced, tracking-oriented gameplay. I mean, you can literally make out the footwork for Soldier 76 strafing on this monitor. Usually, I don't pick apart the benefits offered by peripherals this much, but with technology that is engineered for this express purpose, I needed to do so for a video like this. If you play any fast-paced FPS game and you haven't considered giving ZOWIE's DyAc-enabled monitors a try, I strongly encourage you to do so. It is the preferred gaming monitor choice for FPS pros across all the major esports titles, including TAC FPS like Counter-Strike or Valorant, and for good reason. The technologies that ZOWIE offers with this monitor do indeed offer that slight advantage that professionals crave, even in terms of smaller features like color correction. ZOWIE offers advanced define for sharper target outlines, allowing the user to see or notice enemies more clearly. This leads to a lot of benefits, especially in terms of aiming in real games, where this level of visibility at the top of the competition is demanded. Now that we generally understand the issues that are present with aiming in Overwatch, let us break down the routine that this video presents. The scenarios featured here honestly are nothing special. This is what I believe comprises the gold standard for KovaaK's aim training for Overwatch. The routine is 15 scenarios long, featuring 7 major tracking scenarios, some of which are hand-picked by well-respected Overwatch coach Psev, as well as 3 dynamic clicking scenarios, 2 evasive switching scenarios, and 3 strafing scenarios. The routine is structured with the intention that you do it with the threshold method that I explained a while back. The video for it is featured in the description. We begin tracking with Aerion Invincible 2. Though this scenario does not possess the instant acceleration features, we have it as an opener to ease the player into the routine. It is still profoundly useful to Overwatch because it activates similar muscle groups that you will need to be using in-game. Here, you want to practice using a low amount of tension and under-aiming, which means withholding the speed and aggressiveness of your motion to avoid overshooting the target. After that, we move on to Pass-You Track Wide React, the same scenario we used in the ZOWIE monitor testing. The key to this one is to let yourself sync entirely with the target. At first, it may seem difficult to keep up with it, but as long as you don't react too aggressively each time, you'll be able to find a long strafe. Control Sphere Overwatch is a similar scenario that doesn't feature as much vertical movement, but asks for more precision with our recoveries. The bot sticks to a particularly tight pattern, where it is bouncing left and right in a zigzag motion. This is the exact pattern followed by strafing in Overwatch. The key is to utilize the tension in your wrist to perform a similarly tight snap back onto the target whenever it changes direction, but have it be controlled so as to not cross over the target. Similar warm-ups to this style would be XYZ Voltaic because of the blinks, or Flicker Plaza. You could even swap this out with the 150% version if you want something even harder. We then follow this up with Smoothbot Power Glider Intermediate and PGTI R-Aim. These are wide-angle precision scenarios that, while not necessarily as useful for straightforward dueling, is the preferred practice method for shooting at Mercy or Echo gliding through the sky or Baptiste jumping, or Widowmaker grappling. We finish up tracking with VSS GP9 and ODB MFSI. VSS GP9 is really just a warm-up to ground tracking and the scenario that follows it. The right way to play it is under-aiming, but for the purposes of training for Overwatch, just try to minimize the tension you use on here. ODB MFSI is the quintessential Soldier 76 or Tracer tracking scenario. It very closely mimics the strafing mechanics of the game and is perfect for closer range dueling. Internally, you want to pay attention to how much wrist tension you want to use here. This scenario can sometimes tornado around the player field, requiring you to use more arm than you think. If that becomes a worse problem, consider playing higher sensitivities. Next, we move on to clicking, the first two scenarios of which are simply passive and bounce dynamic clicking. This is 360 degree passive, which means you're going to need to know how to separate the usage of your muscle groups between your arm for scanning the map and your wrist for performing individual micros. In Pure G Leapcorn, it's just simple bounce clicking. Focus especially on targets that are entering their falling arc. It's the same intention in game. Next is Snap Click from the RA Season 4 benchmarks. This one is good for the obvious reason that these bots conform to an instant acceleration pattern. Here, as I've probably said before with older tips on aim beast dynamic, you need to mix in both leading shots and micro shots to be able to hold your pacing. With characters like Cassidy or Ashe, the timing of the shot is what matters most. Don't get into the habit of spamming early on. If you're starting off new, try to read each target's individual strafe pattern and perform the necessary motion for it one by one. Then, after a few tries, and once you're good enough, start trying to eye multiple targets using your peripheral vision and string together shots. While not as immediately applicable, evasive scenarios like Passer Track and Kin TS help us to blend the usage of relevant muscle groups and reinforce good habits when switching between targets in Overwatch, such as releasing tension at the end of the flick to hold a steady track, or using peripheral vision in between target acquisitions. For this reason, you might find these helpful if you play support. Finally, we finish with 3 dodge scenarios. These do not necessarily possess movement patterns similar to Overwatch, but they are mostly for you to get comfortable moving and aiming within the game. When you play these scenarios, do not just try to mirror. Try different strafe aiming forms and see what you might do to throw yourself off. Even if we focus squarely on aiming on this channel, movement is inseparable from aim, and you need to be able to move and shoot in order to have well-rounded mechanics. If you still find that you struggle with aiming and moving in game, check out possession scenarios, where the map moves for you and allows you to isolate and focus on only the adjustments. Keep in mind that these scenarios can all be switched out for different ones, and if you do want to restructure things, be sure to look for easier or harder variants of these scenarios or different variants that also possess instant acceleration motion or other features that we've discussed here. I agree that Overwatch is a tough game to aim in, but once you understand why this is the case and the underlying fundamentals of the game's mechanics, everything starts to make sense. The share code for this routine in KovaaKs FPS Aim Trainer is available in the description. I hope you guys learned from this video that each game possesses its own unique aiming demands and mechanics. Overwatch is just one significant example of where those differences are immediately impactful. This is the reason why you can't just spend all of your time within the aim trainer learning every game's mechanics. You need to step into the game itself and assimilate the patterns and overall feel of its gameplay in order to aim properly in it. If you approach newer games with this mindset of training your raw aim in the trainer and then taking the time to apply it to the game itself, there will be no situation that you cannot aim well in. I hope these resources are useful to any Overwatch player watching this video. Stay tuned for more and check out my streams over at twitch.tv/Matty_OW for aim training VOD reviews and Overwatch gameplay. As always, happy dot clicking.